welcome to Retrotainment. I'm back here again with my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Nothing much. We're into Sci-Fi July and gonna take a look back at one of the best sci-fi films for me.
It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sci-Fi July.
It rolls off the tongue. Nice little alliteration there of it. But yeah, this is definitely one of the ones that's up there for top sci-fi for me.
Yeah, well, this could be action. It could be sci-fi. I more so put it as sci-fi. As soon as it goes to aliens, it's sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean it is action, but it's action with aliens. So a little bit of both. And if you're gonna put it in, there's enough action films out there without aliens. So we'll stick it in here. So released August 1st, 1997 over here.
Yeah.
Now obviously this was the late 90s, so we were still getting our films late, but it was only about a month late, 2nd of July in the States. So we're catching up on getting it on time.
So Will Smith, when this came out, became known as the King of the Fort because he's the only actor to have 3 #1 box offices on 4th of July weekend.
Oh, really?
Sorry, it wasn't on this one. It was on his next one. But he done Independence Day. He was box office #1 in 96. This was 97, and then Wild Wild West was 99.
I can't believe Wild Wild West was a box office hit, but
well, you can imagine why it was a box office hit.
I can see why. Like Will Smith was,
pony.
Will Smith was at his, the pinnacle of his popularity at this point. But Jesus, that's mental. As always, just take a quick look at the ratings. 89 critics give it 92% on Rotten Tomato, which is good,
especially for this type of movie.
Yeah, audience is 79%, which is lower than I expected. But I did have a quick look, and some of them are just kind of like, oh, it doesn't hold up anymore. And again, like to me, you can't judge a film based on technology now.
Like imagine going back and watching Blazing Saddles or something now.
Exactly, and be like, the camera quality isn't that good. Yeah, I mean, it was made in bloody,
but like,
we didn't have HD back then, lads.
Calm down. Something must tell you they done something right that 92 critics get, or 92% on a critic score. Yeah. It's not often you get an audience score that's lower than the critic score.
No, you don't. And I suppose for some people, the plot line is very simplistic. So for some people, maybe they just don't enjoy that. I don't know, but it's a kid's film, really. I know it's about aliens, but it's a kid's film. So
to be honest with you, if you're watching a sci-fi action movie, you want to sit down. You don't really want to
overthink it a lot of the time. Yeah,
like if you want to do something like that, you can watch Blade Runner or things like that.
Yeah, the odd one, it's fine to have a real in-depth thought on it, but overall, you just kind of want sit down, alien trying to kill people, action, done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. As you said, box office hit 589.4 million on the in the box office. So
off a 90 million budget.
You can't be too upset with that, I suppose.
Well, to be honest with you, Barry Sonnenfeld, the director, couldn't have learned really from better people. He started working as a cinematographer with the Coen brothers.
Yeah, not going to go too far wrong there.
Yeah,
a really good cast in this as well.
Apparently,
Will Smith.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, obviously Will Smith, that stands for itself in the late 90s sort of thing. He was the pinnacle of cool at that point. Everyone knew who he was. Everyone loved him.
Well, this was his first solo hit as well as a musician. Men in Black. Well, according to
I suppose it probably was his first solo hit because all of his stuff before that would have been with Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
So when he was the Fresh Prince.
Yeah. Oh, everything there was him and Jazzy Jeff. Yeah, but his first solo hit was.
Yeah, I suppose this probably was. Yeah. And he had a couple more after it as well.
Yeah, a couple of bangers in there too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his music. Millennium and stuff. What an album!
What an album, all right. Tommy Lee Jones there as well.
Tommy Lee Jones, what can you say about him?
He was massive at this time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What can you say? This is, the rest of the cast maybe isn't huge, but these two alone are huge.
Rip Torn.
Rip Torn is Zed. Yeah, that's it. But he's very minimal in this. There's 7 or 8 scenes of him in this. There is one other person.
Jeeves.
I
Is
suppose
he the monk?
I don't know if he's the monk. There is somebody in this that we've done a film on that they were in before. They were in after this. Sorry.
After this.
After this, yeah.
Have we done? What movie is it?
Dogma.
Who's in Dogma? That's in this.
Laurel, the coroner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we brought it up in Dogma as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little throwback. Yeah. So she didn't do a whole lot really. I looked at her.
No, yeah,
IMDb,
I think we've done that.
She didn't do a whole lot really. But like this and Dogma, I suppose too big. Well, I suppose Dogma
probably
wasn't
didn't have to do much.
But, you know, yeah, she's happy enough with what she did, I'm sure. But
well, she's still probably going to get royalties off it anyway.
Yeah. This film starts like, you know, quite innocuous. It's just some lad driving down the road, and you see in the back of his car, he's in the back of the van, I suppose, he's got people smuggling people across the border is what you're led to believe, I suppose. Really.
I love the opening credit scene here where you see the bug flying along.
Yeah, it just crashes into us now. Goddamn bugs.
Yeah, but he's like, it's going for ages, and it goes through like parts of cars and all, and just then splats on the windscreen.
Yeah, it's a very it's not something you see too often. But when it's done right, it's quality. Like,
Jeeves is the monk.
Oh, is he? Okay, yeah. So yeah, but when you look at those characters, they're not in it a whole lot.
No, they're minimal. But Jeeves is a quality character.
They are good actors, but they're quite small parts in it. Like, so the only two that are really in it are these two here, and then
occasionally Rip Torn
every once in a while, and then Laurel from when they're doing the kind of the ending scenes. So I suppose she has a few bits before that, but overall it's just the two boys really. But yeah, we see this driver getting pulled over by the border police, and they're like, oh, what have you got in the back there? And it's a load of people he's smuggling across. I
love how the cop knows who he is.
Yeah. Oh, what have you got there? Huh?
Tools. Let's have a look.
Takes them all out, and then they're about to investigate them, and we see Kay and I think his name's D. He's only in it for a very short while, so Kay and D show up, and they're like, "We'll take it from here, boys." And they start going along, and Kay's chatting away to them all in Spanish.
Department 6 or something.
Yeah, Division 6 or Department 6 or something like that. He's just chatting away to them all in Spanish, and then one lad's just nodding away, and he's like, "You have no idea what I'm saying."
He looks so happy. Like,
yeah. You have no idea what I'm saying, do you? No. Right, all of you back in the van, and your man's like, well, hang on, they're not meant to, like, they can't cross the border. And he's like, let them go, it's just this one we need. And they walk him down this little
into the desert
sort of, and they're like, pulls the cloak open, and it's this lad standing there, and it's a fake head on like a pike, and he's like, give me the head.
I love how they know who he is as well.
Yeah,
because obviously they know all the aliens.
Yeah, I like that he says to him, he's like, put your hands on all your flippers up, and you can see the little ones on his like shoulder and stuff. They all go up. But they're questioning him, and he's just like, oh, like, I need to get out of here, whatnot. And one of the border patrol strolls over, and he looks down.
The funny thing there is though, like, just as they're talking, it flips back to the border patrol. They're like, there is no Division 6. We're gonna go and see here.
Yeah.
And he wanders along.
But he comes over and he sees it. This bit's a little bit weird because he looks down, and then the alien like completely panics, and you're just kind of like, well, why did he panic so much there? But he just charges at this border patrol guy.
I love how the alien's eyes just pop back over his head, and he's like, you just see Kay going, uh-oh. But D kind of gets pushed over, and then kind of fumbles with his weapon, and you can kind of see, right, he's not ready for this anymore. He's about 90.
Yeah, he looks a bit old, all right, and he's kind of like, yeah. So he misses it, and Kay takes the shot, blows him up, and then they call in a containment unit to clean everyone off and wipe the memories and whatnot.
Just burn everything. I needed level 5 burn. 20 meters.
But, he wiped. D starts talking about the stars, and he's just like, I never really look up at them or anything. And he's like, yeah, well, time to wipe this lad's memory. Beep. Yeah. Gone.
He knew. I think D knew himself.
Well, D does say he's like the mind is still there, but the body isn't capable. So
he's old.
We've now been given the idea, like we've been set the premise to know, right? It's a film about aliens, and they have something that wipes people's memories if they see the aliens, right? Nice simple setup. Next scene is just Will Smith, Jay Edwards just chasing this lad down, just sprinting after him.
I love the two cops. Get him, Will, or get him, Jay.
These two cops remind me so much of, in Superbad. And
it does actually, yeah.
He's running away, and they're like, "We'll never catch him. He's the fastest kid alive. He's a freak."
Seth Rogen and Bill Hader.
Yeah,
is it Bill Hader?
He's the fastest kid alive. He's a freak. That's what these two remind me of so much. And I assume that's a throwback to this, but Will Smith just chases this guy down.
This here is another bad boy scene where you see him running.
Yeah, he's just sprinting after this lad.
This scene here is actually, to me, becomes quite important later on, because
it does, yeah.
You see him sprinting, and you see a man jump off the bridge, and away he's gone, and Will Smith jumps on a bus.
Jumps on the bus. It's raining black people out here.
And he just hops down, runs off, and then just catches up to him.
But it shows how smart he is, because he knows he's not going to catch up to this guy now, so he jumps on the back of that truck that's driving by and uses that to catch him up, and then knocks your man into the wall, and he pulls out a weapon which he knocks to the ground, and it disintegrates. And then your man has this it's basically just sort of flip over him, and then jumps 1,000 feet in the air.
He climbs up the building.
Yeah, so Will Smith is now what the hell's going on here?
He doesn't even think twice about it. The guy said he's jumping up on the wall, and he's climbing up the outside of the wall like Spider-Man.
Yeah, Will Smith just chases him up.
Edwards is just Grant shoots the door, and he looks up, and you see the tower, and it's just a second.
He's just running up. But what I like here is that they show his his initiative.
Yeah.
I'll use this car to catch me up, and then I know he's going up to the roof, so I'll just get to the roof by running up here.
And I'll go the other door.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way, so I'll get there before him. It shows his ability as a police officer to think ahead of the guys.
It shows his fitness as well, and everything that goes with it.
But he catches this guy, and this guy just keeps talking about he's coming, the end of the world, it's coming, and then he blinks, and you see the double blink.
The reptile eyes.
Yeah, and then he throws himself off the building. Now, the first time I watched this, I always thought, he's just going to land on his feet and run off, because he's really nimble.
Yeah, you just seen him jump up the building.
Yeah, but no, just splat. Splat he goes.
The next bit here, I actually completely forgot about until I watched this the other day, where it cuts to them in the interrogation room where they're talking to Edwards.
Yeah. And again, I think this is a really important scene for a lot of reasons.
It's nifty here, yeah.
Because they're questioning him, and they don't believe him, and we see him, we see his problem with authority, because they question him, and he's just get out of my face sort of stuff the whole time.
But the other cop that couldn't keep up with him was giving him abuse.
He's giving it back just as well, isn't he?
He's a dog though.
Yeah. But you see, when the I assume the chief or whatever takes the other lad out, and he's like, "Listen, we'll catch up." We see the coroner come in,
slips in, and
says, she's like, "I believe you. Come with me."
Or come and find me at the morgue. Yeah,
and then she gets neuralized outside.
But I completely forgot about that scene.
So did I. I'd completely forgotten that was that little scene. That whole little thing took place.
And because it's slightly in the back. It's not. It's kind of out of focus. It's behind the window. Yeah. That you see a guy in black, and you just see. Can you look right here, snap, and you see it blink.
Yeah.
Or and then blink. It flashes.
Yeah, and then Kay walks in, and he's like.
He turns the camera off.
Yeah, turns the camera off, and he's like, "Listen, I believe you. I believe you. I kind of know what's happened here. So come with me." Now, as he's going with him, we see this. We learn it is a spaceship just smash into the truck of this hick little hick thing where your man's going mental at his wife about the dinner being poisoned, but he still wants to eat it.
The only thing that I have that works well is my truck.
Gone straight away.
Poor Edgar.
This is Edgar. And he goes out to investigate this, and we hear a scuffle. We see him get dragged down, and
you see it's like a scorpion's tail that comes up and takes him.
Yeah, and then he wanders back up, but like there's clearly something wrong with him.
Well, it's not even that. Like you hear the screams, and then you see his skin suit pop up and get dragged back down.
Yeah, but you see it like walking, but it's wrong. Like the skin is hanging off it. It's like twitchy the way it moves.
Yeah, it's like when you open something, try and put something back into a Ziploc bag or whatever.
Yeah, but he walks up anyway into the house, and he asks for some sugar water.
Yeah.
And this is a scene that like I don't know why, like this isn't that big a scene, but it's just one that I never ever forget. Like I always remember him asking, "Can I get some sugar water?" And her pouring the whole sugar bowl into the water.
Yeah, what is it? Can I have water and sugar?
Yeah,
more.
She just
more.
Yeah, just drinks it all down. Yeah. They never really overly go into why this is. Presumably, it's to sustain himself.
Energy, yeah, I'd say.
Because I do know that like if it's a thing like if you see like a bee or something on the ground and it's just kind of not moving, if you put some sugar water in front of it, that it like drinks that and it gives it back the energy.
Yeah, well, it could be the same for humans as well. Like if you need.
Well, he as we learn later is a bug, so presumably that is the idea here.
Yeah. No, we won't go into the bug till it comes up later, but
yeah. But she tells him that he looks a bit off.
Yeah. Your skin is hanging off.
Yeah, and he just pulls the whole thing back with this big Joker like grin on his face.
What was it? Isn't it in The Simpsons that they do it?
Yeah.
He pins the back of his head with the hair clips or whatever.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Yeah. But he has this big Joker like smile on him, and she just faints, and Edgar just I'll head off here, will I?
And then it cuts back to Jay and
and Kay.
Edwards and Kay at the minute.
Yeah, and
they're having food.
Well, they're not having food yet because Kay is like, "Come on, we'll go in and we'll question this lad." And he's like, "This lad just deals stolen Rolexes and stuff." He's like, "I think he's an arms dealer."
Yeah, I love this though when Jay walks in and he's like, I was meant to turn these into the authority.
I thought I turned these into the authority, and he's like, he's kind of like, "Oh, sorry, like I'll turn them in." And then Kay walks in, and you can see the fear on his face. He's just like, "Oh,
Jeeves,
hey Kay," and he's like, show him the other. Show him the other stuff, and he's like, I got nothing else. He's like, the weapons, come on. And he's like, I don't have any weapons. I don't know what you're talking about. And
he just shoots him in the face.
But what I like is that he's like, listen, I'm going to count to 3. You better show me those weapons. And Edward's like, he's only met him, and he's like, listen, I know he's like this, And this, again, it's very similar to Bad Boys, where he's like, I know he's, except Martin Lawrence is the one like this in Bad Boys. He's like, oh, don't wild him up. I know he's going to do it. He'll do it.
He shoots him square in the face, and there's just green blood everywhere.
Jeeves just insists, no, I don't have anything. So shoots him square in the head, bang. And we see this little baby head growing back.
Well, I love here, Edward turns around with his gun. He's like, put that gun down now.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? He just shot some lad in the head and it's like just exploded, man.
And then you hear him, but he has the squeaky voice, and he's like, "Do you know how much that hurts?"
Well, you better show me, or I'm gonna shoot you where it don't grow back.
Yeah.
Which it's quite good. And then he opens, and he shows him all the weapons, and Kay is like, right, which one of those weapons did your man have? And Edward shows him, he's like, that one, and that obviously means something to Kay.
Yeah, he says the gun to him, doesn't he? I can't remember the name of the gun now, but he's like,
you sold that to him. Yeah, you sold that to him. Why'd you sell him that? And he's just like, oh, I don't know. He wanted it.
Yeah.
And he's like, you better have all these, turned in before I get back tomorrow. And then they leave. And Edward's like, and those Rolexes better be turned in as well.
I think that's the least of his problems at this stage.
Yeah, but this is when he uses the neuralizer on Edwards, and then the next scene is when they're sitting there eating Chinese food or whatever, and Kay is just laughing away, and Edward's just like, what the hell is this lad laughing about? Like, what's going on? And he hands him the little card and he's like, here tomorrow morning.
9 a.m.
I'll see you.
Yeah, he's sitting on the bench, isn't he? Then he sits on the bench all night.
No, that's a little bit later. That's after he goes. So the next morning he goes.
The first day,
yeah. So the next morning he goes in and he shows up at this building, and
this is hilarious. He goes in.
He's late.
He's late, but the guy doesn't even have a desk. He's just sitting on a chair.
And that's something it's like this in all of the future films as well. You walk in and he's just like, who are you here for? And he's like, oh, someone gave me this card, the elevator. That's it. Like, just doesn't care.
There's nowhere else to go though.
Yeah, and what I love is that there's one huge fan in front of him and another huge fan behind him. He's just sitting in this like really chilled room. No water to him.
But like, he's sitting there and he's like, where is he gonna go? Like, there's no stairs. There's only one elevator door and the
elevator. But he takes the elevator, and then this is the first time we see Zed, and he's there with all these, military candidates, and Edwards has showed up in like the red jacket that we see behind us. All the lads are like real professionally dressed, and he's in there in this red jacket and white t-shirt and a pair of jeans. Like,
it's so funny because like you see a man, he's wearing the Marines outfit and this, that, and the other, and then he comes along and they're like, "You're late."
Yeah. Well, sorry, like maybe you answered this already, but like, what are we doing here? And the military guy gets him. He's like, "We're the best of the best of the best." He's like, "Yeah, that's kind of funny." Like, he said that, but he doesn't know why we're here either.
No, not a clue.
Zed goes, do your tests there. And they're all sitting there in these like egg-shaped pods, and they're all like trying to write on the stuff.
He takes the pencil out, he tries to rip it open and breaks the pencil.
Yeah, so now he's trying to write with the pencil by holding it together.
Yeah, why? Like, why not just hold the pencil?
Yeah, just hold the bit that, you can still write with. Like, I don't know.
He's you see him trying to write in his leg, and you see him
yeah, we see them all. They're like up on the wall thing and like on their legs, and none of them can do it. And he just gets up and just drags the little coffee table thing over, and he's like, "You just want to get in on this?" And they're all looking at him like, "This lad's a."
But
insane.
Again, it shows his thinking outside the box.
But again, this is the point that they show these tests, like what you answered, probably didn't matter in that test. No. That test was actually about can they work out how to fill in the test. And we see it. The next test again is the one where they're sent into the room with all the flashing lights and stuff, and all the lads start shooting everything, start shooting all these aliens and stuff. And Edwards just sits there for a while and then just shoots this little girl in the head. Yeah. And they're like, explain. And he's like, well, this guy, first I was thinking about this guy over here, but I mean, like, then I see, he's just over there, he's just doing his pull-ups and stuff. And, how would I like it if somebody came in and, I was running on the treadmill and they shot me, Nah, not for me.
But then we have little Lucy there who's out at whatever time at night in the dark, followed by all these monsters with her calculus books.
with her quantum physics books. Now, that just seems sketchy to me, man.
Now, to me, has he got the right answer there?
He has, and you can tell because Zed is like impressed. He's impressed, but he's not happy about it because he's like, I don't want to let this. You showed up late. You're way too cocky and just like all over the place, and don't really care.
I love this though, where it cuts out to Zed, and then obviously Kay are talking. He's like, "I want him."
He's like, he chased down a cephalopod. On foot. Yeah. Like, this guy's got it. And Zed is just like, okay. So then he's like, right, come on, we're coming away for the last test, which is an eye exam. And
you knew at this point, having seen it twice already.
Yeah, you're like, great. Yeah. Their memory's gone. That's the end of them. And he brings
he stops him coming out the door, yeah.
Yeah, so this is when he brings him along, and he's like, listen, so we want to take you on, and he's like, I'll show you how everything works and stuff.
The aliens.
Yeah, but basically you have to give up your entire life.
Yeah,
that's all you have to give up.
There's no record of you. Everything is deleted.
Yeah, but what I like here is that he brings him out, and this is where he brings him out to the bench. He's like, "Listen, you have until tomorrow to decide." And he's like, "But if aliens are real, why not just tell everyone?" Edward says to Kay, and Kay's just like, "Well, you see," he's like, "People are smart." And he's like, "No, a person is smart. People are dumb. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals." Yeah. Like, so if you tell that, like, yesterday you knew that this, and now today you know that aliens exist and we're not the only people here. What are you going to know tomorrow or 10 minutes from now?
Yeah,
I love that because he's like, people are happy. Yeah, people are happy when they know what's real and what's not. But if you start telling them stuff is real that's not real, or that they didn't think is real, then panic ensues.
It causes chaos, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there is one little bit before they leave the headquarters that I like, where he's like, Will Smith just doesn't like him, and he's like, I'm just going to get a cup of coffee. Do you want some? These guys are great. Like, they're just sitting there pouring the coffee. Yeah, pouring the coffee and like smoking and stuff. They're in every film as well. They're great to me. Like, they're in every film and they're just always doing nothing.
They're so good in 2.
Yeah, but they're always just kind of doing nothing. They're just kind of there, like just hanging around. Like,
they're really, really good in 2.
Yeah,
they're like I think it kind of reminded me of Despicable Me with the Minions.
Yeah,
they brought them into it a lot more when they seen the love that they got.
Yeah. But we see, Jay. This is when Jay sits on the bench for the entire night, and then he says, like, yeah, listen, I'll join up, and they're like, right, this is the last suit you'll ever wear, and they give him the Men in Black stuff, and they start deleting all of his.
I love that.
His history and stuff.
Where he's standing there, and Zed comes up to him, and he's like, "Are you ready? Ready for what? To put it on? Put what on? The last suit you'll ever wear."
Right. Yeah, I do. I think that's a great little line. But what I love is that you can see Kay deleting out his his security number. Everything about him is just being deleted. And while all this is happening, we see some guy get into a taxi with his cat.
Yeah.
And we see
that's Edgar, the jewelry store. Yeah, he closes up.
And we see Edgar chasing him in the bug van. Now, where did he get that bug van? People might ask. Well, he got it because he called a bug exterminator to. The real Edgar called a bug exterminator to his barn, and he killed him and took his van.
Yeah, and it's not a nice death either. Like, he gets the big spray gun and shoves it down his throat.
Shoves it down his throat, yeah. Now, that doesn't look great. That's probably one of the worst looking scenes in terms of, like, visually effective. No, just in terms of visual effect. Like, you can see it doesn't go down his throat, and it's like, it doesn't look great. But again, that's the timing.
It worked in the movie.
It worked fine, You got the idea of what had happened. But we see Edgar is now driving around trying to...
he's attemptedly driving.
Well, he's managing. No, it's not good, but no one seems to care that he's like a lunatic driving around. But we see him following this guy around, who's carrying his cat, and we see him go into a diner, and he sits down, and there's this massive tall guy who we've seen a little bit earlier,
but not really.
He was just kind of in the background enough that, like, the first time you watch it, you probably don't recognize him.
Well, yeah, you see him. He's talking, like, the camera pans to him when it's like a check-in at the airport.
Yeah,
he's like, "What are you here for? Business or pleasure?" Pleasure.
Yeah, but he's like, "Oh, I'll be gone by lunchtime today or whatever. Like, I'm only here for lunch." Like, but he goes in and we see the lads order their food, and everything seems kind of normal. And then the chef kind of rings the bell and he's like, "Order 6 is up here." And he's like, the chef is like, "Where's the other guy?" And he's just like, "Oh, he felt sick. I said to want a break." And we see him like folded up in half and pushed in where all these boxes are.
It's hilarious.
But then he comes out with the meal for the two of them and puts it down. But there's like cockroaches coming out of his the sleeves of his stuff. And the two boys know, and they're just like, "Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're in trouble here."
Well, actually, we've actually missed a bit. They go out. Remember, he just after Edwards gets done to Jay, they go to get the papers. They're like, "They're gonna get the papers," and they see Edgar's wife.
Yeah,
has
it's kind
alien stole my husband's skin or something.
Yeah, this all kind of seems to be happening in parallel, like, because while they're doing that, Jay and Kay have gone to find what was the guy's name again? Reddick, the alien who's trying to escape in his car, and they're having the baby.
Yeah.
And he's trying to escape, and
that's when going out of town.
Yeah, and he's like, he's going to fly back home or whatever, and Kay is like, it's very strange that he's flying off with a newborn, like, considering this is the safest place for him and stuff. And this is when Kay is like, we'll go check out the papers, and he's like, wait, you're buying, basically, what are the rags like? And he's like, listen, this is where you get the real stories. Yeah. And he's looking through them. He's like, alien stole my husband's skin. And he's like, bingo. So they go off to Edgar's house, but Edgar's off here killing people with his tail. straight through the neck.
Yeah, that's it. Like your man at the lunch goes, "You'll never take us alive." Oh, that's where you're wrong.
Yeah, but what I like is that he stabs the two of them in the neck, and the cat is still sitting there.
He's hissing like fuck at him.
But he picks up this thing that's on the table, which we already know is just diamonds, because we heard them discuss it earlier, where he's just like, "Is that the?" He's like, "Is that the?" And he's like, "No, that's just some diamonds for your family." Like who knows? Like, are diamonds worth something out on their planet? Is it like food? I don't know what it is, but that's what it is there.
It's never really alluded to. It's just
it's never brought up. It's a gift there that's for you and your family. Like, so Edgar thinks that's what he's looking for. So off he goes, and Jay and Kay go to, question this woman, and she's like, it was like he's wearing an Edgar suit.
Yeah, it's so funny, and he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's like it was Edgar's skin."
Yeah,
but it wasn't him.
Yeah, like, I know my Edgar, and that wasn't him. And she's like telling them, and he's like, "And what did he get? Anything to drink?" She's like, "Yeah, sugar water."
Yeah.
And you can tell that Kay's already putting it together in his head, and he's like, I know what this is.
Yeah, he goes out and they get into the hole.
Well, they flash. They use the neuralizer on her, and he's just like, "Yeah, your husband left you, whatever." And then Jay is like, "No, actually,
happy memories.
You kicked him out because he was cheating on you, and you can do better. And you're going to go into town with your mother, and you're going to buy like nice clothes and new dress and all this." It's kind of like,
and call a decorator.
Yeah, and you can see that, like, Jay is he's still got that, everything's still kind of a joke to him. It's not that serious. Whereas Kay is real, just like,
it's by the book.
Just do it real quick and get out. And we see him outside, and he's testing the dirt where the ship landed, and he's like, "Don't be green, don't be green, don't be green."
Do you know what green is?
Do you know what green is? It's like, "No, it's my first day. Like, I don't know what anything is. What do you talk about? How would I know?" And he's just like, "It's a bug." Which is when we learn, that's what Edgar is. He's a bug.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of seen it now at this point.
Yeah, you've seen him like stab people in the neck with like a tail and stuff.
Yeah, and you've seen that come up and take Edgar originally.
Yeah. So once he does this,
he rings Zed straight away.
He rings Zed. He tells Zed, and then he's like, "Now we need to watch the morgues." So they go to the morgue, and this is where we see her again, the coroner again, and the two of them are pretending they're doctors, and she's like, come check out these, and like, one has no rectum, no lungs, no liver, no heart, and then the other lad's just like 8-foot guy in the thing, and she's like, one of the guys was just normal, but these two are different.
Yeah, because I think the other person that died was
no, the other person that died is the guy that got folded up and he was put in as the box. She's just like, yeah, he's normal. It's these other two that are weird.
I love where if she has Jay put his hand.
Yeah, there's the bit where the body gets brought in and the cat's sitting on it. She's like, "What's with the cat?" And he's like, "Oh, there's a problem with the cat." And she signs the thing. And
what's the problem?
What's the problem? It's your problem now. He just walks out. You're like, "Oh man, how many times did she get stung with that?"
Loads.
I'd say so, yeah. But she's investigating the body, and we see Edgar in his truck losing his mind because it's all just jewels.
Yeah, eventually gets the little box open.
Yeah, and he discovers it's all jewels. Well, the two lads are here discovering like these are aliens, and she's she has Jay feeling around in the body, and she's like, all this stuff is missing. And then they open the head, and it's a little alien sitting in the head, and he gives the warning. He's like,
the galaxy is on
war incoming. Galaxy on Orion's bit.
Yeah, you can't get the word.
And he's like, I don't know the word. And Jay is like, belt. And then
belt.
the little thing dies. And the cat's still just hanging around. And Jay goes over and he tells Kay, and he says it's on Orion's belt. So back to headquarters they go.
I love this though, where he's like, "Doctor, just come here."
Yeah, "Doctor, whatever, come here." She's like, "Doctor, whatever. Yous aren't really doctors."
Yeah.
And what I like is he does the neuralizer, and again he's like, "Hey, how many times have you neuralized that one?" "I don't know, a couple." And here you're kind of thinking like, if aliens are coming into that morgue so frequently, would they not just station somebody there?
You would think that, wouldn't you?
But no, they just keep letting her do it, and just keep. And what happens here is that her and Jay twice, they're like when they're left alone, she's like, do I know you? Do I know you? And he's like, I think I know you too. And it's like they do know each other, but neither of them remember because they've both been neuralized since they met the last time.
Yeah. Which is, you can see it doesn't always work to an extent.
It does, but like it leaves like that, like a trace of a memory in you, but like you can't put it together, which I like because it's kind of, you know, oh well, maybe we do know each other, maybe we don't. But
well, like you see it more in the second one as to why it does that.
Yeah, but they go into they're back at headquarters, and Zed is telling them like, look, listen, Orion's belt is just 3 stars. There's no way there's a galaxy on those 3 stars.
Yeah.
And then they get an incoming message, and it says, you know,
the Validian warship is on the way.
Yeah, it's like we're on the way. Like, give us that galaxy, or you know, we're gonna kill you.
So then they head off to the jewelers.
They head off to the jewelers, but Egger's already been there and smashed the place to bits.
But it's not even like they're. This is only seconds apart, really.
Yeah,
when
Egger's
you think
been
about
there,
it.
Smashed it up, and he's gone outside to his truck.
His truck got towed.
His truck is getting towed, and they go in and they're checking it, and they're like, "What sort of person comes into breaks into a jewelry store but doesn't steal any jewels?"
One looking for something.
Yeah, and then they see, you know, the shrine to the cat, and he's like,
"That's it."
Man,
there.
This guy really loved his cat.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're about to put it together. The cat.
Yeah,
that's it.
Egger's already picked it.
But before they put it together, they walk out.
Yeah, because Egger shoots the
Egger's
tow truck guy.
Shooting your man, and he's like, oh, well, they notice that Egger's out there, and they're like, right. Jay runs out with his little pea shooter gun that keeps blasting him back like 30
I love
feet.
that when they're back in headquarters and they're like, Zed's like, give him a weapon.
Yeah, it's his little pea shooter, and he's like, pew.
I love this though, where they go down and Kay's like, standard K9 edition.
Yeah.
You, noisy cricket.
Yeah, but it knocks him back every time. So like the first time it knocks him back in the shop, the next time he goes out, he gets knocked into to some dustbins, and then the third one, when he puts the hole in the big truck, he gets smashed through someone's window, and Kay's like, we don't shoot our weapons in front of the public.
Yeah, and then they call a big...
He's like, yeah, Dad, we need a containment unit down here pretty quick. So your man's like clearing their memories, and they're like, right, we need to go talk to...
the coroner.
No, well, they're like, we need to go talk to a specialist here who understands international politics. And they go off and they talk to Frankie, the little pooch. And I love that the guy beside Frankie is just like, you know, alien-looking guy, and Jay is just like, this guy isn't even trying to pretend he's not. Like, he just looks like an alien. And they're like, then the dog talks. He's like, whoa.
I love this though. Kay picks him up and he's shaking him and everything.
Oh, don't spin me upside down! Don't spin me upside down! And he's like,
I've got to be walked before my flight.
And he's like, listen, where is it? Like, where is the galaxy? And he's just like, you guys all think a galaxy has to be something, you know, huge and big and all this. And then when he wanders off, and he tells them, he's like, listen, it's a bug. You know, he's come to, you know, if they'll destroy the galaxy, like they'll destroy this planet to make sure he doesn't get that galaxy sort of thing.
He's just killed the Validian prince.
Yeah. So then he's like, I'm going to go off for my walk. But when he goes off for his walk, he barks at a little cat. And that's when Jay cops it. He's like, Orion's bell. And he's like, right, we need to go back. I don't really know when Edgar kind of puts this together. Because
he puts it together when he's in the jewelers, because he looks at the portrait and he sees it hanging down.
I don't think he does. I think there's like something else comes up that lets him kind of know as well, if I remember correctly. There's just something.
Yeah, because in the jewelers there's a whole lot of cats' collars.
Is it?
Yeah, because he has them. So you know where he breaks all the glass into obviously the human jewelry.
Yeah.
And then he backs into the picture, and beside the picture there's a whole load of cats. Things, and then he notices it on the portrait of the cat. It has the thing hanging down.
Yeah.
And that's when he pings it, and that's when he leaves.
Yeah, he leaves, and he goes into...
He shoots your man, and everything happens.
Well, he drives up to your man, and he picks up he's like, where do you keep your dead? And your man's like, I don't have any dead.
Yeah. Where did the dead go? The morgue?
I don't know, the morgue, and then he takes the little pamphlet, and it looks like it's just directions, and you're just assuming, oh, he's just he's going to find out where the morgue is on that map. But he drives up to the morgue, and he rings the bell. He seems to enjoy ringing that bell. Ping, 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 ping. And your man's like, yeah, I'm here. Stop ringing the bell, please.
And then the fly comes and he swats it.
He's swatting the fly, and your man's like, can you just please
don't
stop
do that?
But he asks, he's like, listen, my friend came in, and there was a cat with him, and the cat means a lot to me, and I want the cat back, and things like that.
Oh yeah, you need proof of ownership, a picture of you and the cat.
And that's when these bugs come out of his hands.
Yeah.
Now, your man on the reception just does not react enough to this.
Yeah,
because he just kind of looks at it and he's just like, I'll just get some of these bug spraying cans. I'd be a bit more weary if there was bugs coming out of some guy's arms, like.
Now, something doesn't really add up, and I know it's a different movie, but so the next scene you see here is him obviously getting
stuck to
but he's in the second one.
Yeah, but see, I don't think he's dead, because you do see his eyes move when he's stuck to the roof above.
I can't say I noticed it now too much.
Yeah, it's a very slight, like you can see his eyes move, and at first I thought, is that just a
twitch? Or
like, did he just not manage to keep his eyes still when they were recording that shot? And then I was like, no, he is in the second one. So I was like, maybe that's just the point.
But see, now within that, then obviously going into the second one's a different movie. But in the second one, he knows about the Men in Black. So did they forget?
Yeah, I think they did. I think
I think that could be a very good part to run the second one off.
Yeah, but he's obviously stuck up there. But the lads have worked out, right, we need to go to get that cat.
I love this though, where Jay's like, okay, I'll go in, you stay here.
Yeah.
Can't keep flashing you, give her brain cancer.
You give her brain cancer or something. So he goes in. What I like here is that he goes in, and like they've kind of been a little bit flirty with each other. And Edgar's like hiding under the thing, and she's like, yeah, I think the cat is gone, but I really think you should take me with you. And he's like,
but this bit there though, he goes in, he rings the bell first, and no one comes. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to go.
Yeah, I'm just going to go in. But like he goes in and he's like, she's just like, I think you should take me with you. And he's like,
oh, it's like that, is it?
Oh, it's like that. And she's like, no, I really need help. And she's pointing down. And he's like, whoa, you're really forward. And she's just like, no, I really need help. And he's just not catching on.
He goes down, he takes the gun out, or goes to, and the cat jumps on the table.
He eventually works it out. And he goes to get the gun, and then the cat jumps onto the table, and Edgar jumps up, grabs the cat, and then during this time, Kay has made his way in, and he's noticed your man up on the ceiling.
Yeah,
which Jay had never noticed.
Yeah, well, how would you notice?
I mean, it's his first day on the job.
You're not going to look on the roof.
But this is the whole thing. Like, all of this is happening, and it's just his first day on the job.
Yeah.
But they go in, and there's kind of this talk down, and he's like, now let her go, and your man's like, no. Edgar's just like, no.
I don't think I want to do that.
But Edgar escapes in a taxi.
Yeah. This is actually a really smart scene.
But he hands her the map, and he says, bring me here, which throws back to why he took the thing earlier as well.
Yeah. Which you also see earlier on in the film that we kind of skipped over, where they show those two things landing.
Oh yeah, he explains like, oh yeah, why else would we have it there? Like,
yeah, it's a random one.
Yeah.
We've also, like, you see then, like, he goes out and he's like, but the part here where he goes out and he takes the taxi.
Yeah.
Is very smart. Obviously in New York,
taxis everywhere.
Yeah, and they're all the same. It's not like here where it could be one Skoda, it could be a Toyota. They're all yellow. Well, probably not all yellow, but
not anymore. They wouldn't be, but back then they probably would have all been very standard.
Yellow taxi cab.
Yeah, which is great because Will Smith, like Jay, comes running out and he's like looking in all the taxis, trying to see which one they are.
Yeah, I love how he knew though, because the thing on the back of the seat that they obviously makes it more comfortable for him to sit on. He throws it in the ground. He's in a taxi.
Yeah, but they go rushing out, and Kay shows up in the car, and he's like, "Listen, he's not getting off the earth in a taxi now. Come on, get in the car here. I know where he's."
This here, like, between this and Bad Boys, had another feel to it. Like, he was running out to catch the bad guy, And the other partner leaves to get the car.
His partners love getting the car.
Yeah.
But he gets the car and they go back to headquarters and they discover they have one galactic week to get that to get the galaxy back to them, or they're gonna blow up the world.
How long is that?
An hour.
Yeah.
Which is I love, because all of this is stuff he doesn't know. He's like, an hour, and he's like, there's all. Kay is just like, there's always somebody trying to blow the world up and this, that, and the other. Yeah. And there's one part that we kind of, Kay, when they're doing this, looks up on the computer. He zooms in on this woman.
I was just about to bring this up. Yeah.
Jay comes over and he's like, so there is a woman. Well, I suppose, as they say, it's better to have loved than lost. And Kay is just like, well, you try it.
He automatically just knocked it off then.
Yeah. And you can tell it's something he's been doing, kind of over the years, that he does keep a tab on this woman. And we learned that, this is one that he clearly loved before he became an agent.
Yeah, and then they kind of explain where he became, because they talk about aliens coming in and there was a guy with a bunch of flowers.
Yeah, and that's
in the wrong place, and it turned out to be him.
Yeah, that's you in the picture.
Yeah, with the really tall people.
Yeah, which is obviously when the first landing happens, and we see
I think they make it out as if it's Roswell, don't they?
No, they make it out that because that first landing is the one where Edgar is now going to, so it's like a theme park. They've kind of made it out to be.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they said Roswell wasn't the first one. It was.
Yeah, this was the first one, and then Roswell was just a subsequent one too. But they discuss. This is when Jay discovers by looking at the wall. He's like, "Hey," because Kay and Zed are discussing. They're like, "No, that ship's gone. That ship's gone." And they're like, because they have Edgar's actual ship.
Oh yeah, because they
took his van. Like he drove off in the taxi, so he didn't have his van, which had his ship in it. And they're just like, yeah, no, all the ships are gone. We don't know how he's going to get out of here. And Jay's like, do these still work?
Hey, old guys.
Do these still work? And they're like, yeah. So this is when they know, right. That's where we need to go. That's where he's going. And what I love here is they get into the car, and Kay is like, you should put on your seatbelt.
Right.
And he said it to him earlier as well. And Jay just never listens, just never puts on his seatbelt. But this time they go under the tunnel, and Jay is like, it's going to be packed in there. And he up onto the side, and the car's upside down, and Jay is like crawling around on the roof.
I love this though, because just before he says it, he's like, you got to put on your seatbelt. And he's like, hey, remember the little red button? Yeah. Push the little red button.
But I love it. Like, he's up on the roof, he's just driving around, and he's like, Kay is sitting there real relaxed, and Jay is like crawling around under the roof and trying to like himself.
I love he has Elvis on. I think it's Elvis on.
Yeah, do you want to put some music on? You know Elvis is dead. Elvis ain't dead. He just went home.
Yeah, I love that.
But they come out the other end of the tunnel, and they get there. This people might say, oh, it doesn't make sense because Edgar had loads of time on them. But Edgar's just in a normal taxi. They're in this car that can drive on roofs and speed along at like no traffic for it. But they catch up, and they see Edgar is about to climb up into the spaceship. And she's like, you can just leave me here. And he's like, no, I'm gonna be hungry on the way. You're coming with me.
I'm kind of a queen of my people.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm gonna eat you anyway.
Yeah, so he says something there about royalty, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, and she starts kicking, and he throws her down.
He just kind of drops her into the tree, but he just continues on up, and he gets into the ship, and the two boys show up, and he's in the ship already. He's ready to go. And they take out the two guns, and Jay is like, now this is what I'm talking about. And I love Kay is like, set it to this, and he's like, what? Yeah, I don't know any of that.
Just gonna shoot it.
She's like, just shoot it. And I love that there's like a baseball game going on, and the thing is just flying over. And I know
down.
I know it has absolutely nothing to do with it, but it reminds me so much of in Space Jam when Jordan arrives back at the baseball and he comes in the spaceship.
It's definitely linked to it.
I have a feeling it's a little nod to that, because Space Jam was 96 and this was 97, but I doubt there'll ever be an admittance to that. Yeah, it'll never be confirmed. But an
alien spaceship over a baseball game and two movies in a year.
Yeah, it's gotta be. But they shoot it down, and it this bit's a bit, you know, it crashes and it's like coming towards them and like it's like ripping up all this ground, and the two of them are just standing there like, yeah, it'll stop before it gets to us, and there'll be no debris on us or anything like that.
Now it gets like, I know it. I think it gets a little bit ridiculous now when he comes out.
Well, he comes out and he's just like, they're like, now put your hands behind your head.
Oh, you don't want me to do that.
Which I like because
I'm gonna put my hands behind my head.
Yeah, which I like because, you know, it's Jay that's saying it, and that's what he would have said as a police officer. Put your hands behind your head because that's the safest place for them to be. Not in this case, because he rips the Egger suit off. And I actually think he's this huge bug. I actually think he looks really good as the huge bug.
Yeah, until his mouth starts talking.
Yeah, but I think, like, all things considered, like, this is 97. I think this looked really good. Like,
it was very good CGI. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really well done. Like, but yeah, he then he eats their two guns, and you're kind of like, oh,
snatches them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, they're kind of in trouble. Yeah. And he's just like, I'm gonna head off here. But Kay runs around in front of me. He's like, I'm gonna go get my gun. Yeah. Runs around in front of me. He's like, eat me. He's just like jumping around. And I mean, you know, why would you eat the guy who wants to be eaten? It's a bit of a strange move. Like, he clearly wants to be in there.
I love what he said to him though. He's like, whatever you do, don't let him get on that plane.
Yeah. So Jay watches Kay get eaten, and he's like, obviously, whoa, this is a bit
swallowed whole.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's your first day on the job with all these aliens. You're gonna be like, whoa, that guy just got eaten. Like, he just got eaten whole. No bother to him. Like, I don't know if I want this anymore. Yeah. But he can't. He tries to get in the way, and he's like brushing fire and stuff at him, and it's none of it just getting smashed around. And eventually he gets knocked into this like dumpster, yeah, with loads of bugs, and he's just like, hey, is this your auntie? And he just steps on it, and he's like, oh.
He does the first one by mistake, though, doesn't he?
Well, no, he noticed them on his, like, they're kind of on his jacket, and then he kicks the rusty bit, and they all fall out, and he like shouts up at him. He's like, hey, is this all your family here? What is this, like your auntie? And he steps on it. I said, oh, my bad. And you can see the bug is just like, I'm not having this.
Well, you've seen it earlier as well with the fly, and then he goes to poison the thing. He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it. So he comes back down and he's like, what's this, your uncle? And just the whole time, Jay is just consistently stepping on more and more of them.
Was that your mama?
Oh, no. I'm real sorry about that one. But they get into this, the bug gets up in his face, and again, as he says to, you know, nearly everyone that gets up in his face during this film, he's like, you really want to get up out of my face before I do something about it. Yeah. Or before you regret it, is what he says.
And, what can you do here?
And the bug is just like, why would I regret it? Like, I'm gonna eat you like I did your friend, basically. And
well, actually, like, there's a part we missed here as well, though, where he swallows when he was in the morgue, he swallowed the
ball,
the galaxy.
He swallows the ball with the galaxy in it. But he's up in Jay's face, and then Jay's like, uh-oh, too late. Because you can hear the sound of the gun powering up inside him. Yeah. And then Jay just shoots, and it's just this explosion. And we see him split in half.
Kay shoots
from inside him. And we see him split in half. One half goes one way, the other half goes the other. And then
the lads get covered.
The lads Kay is covered because he's been down in his body. Yeah. Jay gets covered by the explosion of it, but he has the little bell, and he's just like, the two lads are sitting there after this. You know, job well done. We got the galaxy back. They rings Ed, and they're like, tell them we've got the galaxy. So, you know, disaster averted. No big laser being fired at Earth. We're safe now. But while all this is happening, the two of them are sitting there, and Jay is explaining, like, yeah, I got this fire. It's like shaking the fire in his face, and I stood in the bug. He's explaining everything that happened to Kay. And we see the bug like coming up behind them again.
This is a very good part as well, due to the fact that cockroaches are abnormally hard to kill.
Yeah, so he's like coming up behind them, and then he just explodes again. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, whoa, what was that?
There?
And then you see Laurel there with the gun, and they're just like, oh, thanks. Yeah. What I like here is that Kay says to Jay's like, I wasn't training you as my partner.
Yeah.
And Jay's like, what? And he's like, do you know the stars? He's like, you know the stars, like, I just never really look at them anymore. And it's a throwback to what D says to K.
It's basically like a retirement.
Yeah, retirement. Like, this is how you tell people you're retiring. But like, obviously Jay doesn't know that because it's his first day on the job. Again, it's my first day.
It's a bit harsh here, like.
Yeah, but he's like, I wasn't training a
partner. I was training a replacement.
Training a replacement. And then he's like, you need to, like, you always keep this bit facing away from you, like days, months, years. And that's like, obviously that's how much time you're going to erase from their memory or whatnot. So he obviously sets it back to before that.
25 years ago, 35 years ago.
Yeah. And then flashes him. And that's K. K is gone. And this is a really surprising end to this film in terms of like, K is gone.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whoa, this is one of the, the two main characters and one of them's gone at the end of the film.
Yeah, it was a nice finish in a way. Like it was an unexpected finish.
Yeah, what I like here is that obviously you never know if you're going to be a box office hit, so they left themselves with the ability to end it there. Like this is the end. K is finished. Jay is going to be starting his career.
Yeah,
but they also left themselves open because the next scene after that we see Jay and presumably L.
You'd imagine that's what her name is, yeah.
I presume that's what her name is going to be, Jay and L. And they're like, Jay is picking up the magazines and it's like, aliens stole this, aliens that. And then the last one is K, and it's man wakes up after 35 years.
Yeah.
35-year coma, and it's year one. It's a picture of year one that
it's an absolute quality ending to it.
Yeah, but it leaves a happy ever after for K.
I love this though, where she's like, oh, this person wants floor tickets to a game, and he's like, well, call Rodman, he's from that planet.
Yeah, she's like, not a good disguise.
Yeah.
The one thing that's a bit strange on that, like, and this is probably one of the biggest faults on the film, is that if K has just woken up from this coma, it's the next day, which means Jay is on day 2.
And she's on day 1.
L is on day 1. And he already knows who all this information. That's probably one of the main kind of issues here, is that
I'd say it's probably a little while later.
I think it's meant to be, but then,
Well, I'd say it is, because those magazines don't come out every day.
I suppose, yeah, but it's kind of a weird one, like, because
it should probably tell you. It's 3 months later.
You'd think that, but then the whole thing with Egger only happened the day before, and that was in the paper the next day as well,
Yeah.
So they're not great at keeping the timeline, which is probably the biggest issue here, in that they make it too easy for Jay to have picked up everything.
Yeah,
no matter how much of a student he is, he seems to know everything by day 2. Like.
Yeah. Well.
But like,
maybe they have some kind of thing that they get inside.
Possibly, yeah. There's something that they put in their brain that gives them all the information. Who knows? But what I do like is that they left themselves open for, like, this is it. It's ended, and like also left themselves open for, here's part 2.
Yeah.
But and as like we know now, there obviously is a part 2, but she doesn't return in part 2.
Yeah, she had a massive falling out with the film company.
Seems to happen a lot with her.
Yeah, an awful lot.
Yeah.
But now, within saying that, Barry Sonnenfeld apparently didn't want to cast Tommy Lee Jones because of his aggressive nature. Apparently, now here's the kicker, right? He didn't want to cast Tommy Lee Jones because of his aggressive nature. He wanted to cast Mel Gibson, because that's much better.
Yeah. I don't think Mel Gibson would have worked in this role. I don't feel like, I suppose it's because I'm so used to the character now, but I just can't see anybody else doing it.
At this time, like Tommy Lee Jones had come off the likes of he came off Batman in '89.
Yeah.
He came off Volcano in '96. He was a big enough star at the time. Like,
yeah, I think it's the way he does the character, like the real kind of straight shooter, like stern straight shooter. I don't know. I can't see anybody else doing it, and that partially is just because I'm so used to seeing him do it.
Yeah, well, he's a quality actor.
He is, but like as a film, like what an opener for this, and like it spawns off to Men in Black 2, which is obviously quite good, and then it kind of stopped there, and then we got Men in Black 3 years later.
Yeah, it wasn't even, there was no talk of it or anything. I know they talked about it, but there was nothing, and then all of a sudden it was nearly finished.
Yeah. I do know that Men in Black 2 made slightly less in the box office than Men in Black 1.
Yeah.
So maybe they just felt, there's not enough juice in this to keep going.
Well, like Tommy Lee Jones there, I'm just checking, he came off Batman. Batman Forever was 96. Volcano was 97, along with Men in Black. He'd also done Natural Born Killers, and he'd done The Fugitive. So he was massive.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy in Under Siege as well with Steven Seagal.
Yeah. But obviously when they come back to number 2, which we'll cover at some point, we see Tommy Lee Jones is back anyway.
Yeah, but apparently that wasn't meant to be. Apparently,
I think that's why they wrote his character off. Yeah.
If she hadn't fallen out with the company, or can't remember what ideally it was, the company or the director or the producer or something, but I'd say he wouldn't have been back.
Yeah, I'd say that's what happened. She fell out, and they're like, "Well, we need someone, and there's no point in getting someone completely new in. Now, get Tommy Lee back."
Allegedly, Will Smith, whilst filming 2, came up with the story for 3 and pitched it, and he was shut down. And then it wasn't until when they decided to go, they went on it.
I think, like, I don't know about some people, and this isn't something we normally do too much, but like, I think number 3 is deadly. Like, it's so good. I really like the tie-up and everything that came with it. Now, I must say, it's a fairly strong franchise apart from the new one. Yeah, the new one.
Well,
the new one's not awful. Yeah, well, the new one's not absolutely awful, but it's they tried to do something new with it, and it
didn't work.
It's fine. I'm sure if you're like, if you're not someone who watched Men in Black when you were younger, and that was the first one you'd ever seen, you'd enjoy it, sort of thing.
Probably. I don't get me wrong. I watched it once. If I don't see it again, ever again, whatever.
If it was on, I wouldn't be like, turn that off or anything. But if someone was like, do you want to watch the new or the new Men in Black or the first Men in Black, I'd be picking the first one.
Yeah, but like overall, it's a quality movie.
Yeah, very, very strong.
It's one of those ones you could put on, sit back, throw it on. Don't need to focus too much. It's kind of easy to pick up the story.
Yeah, I mean, like, all you need to know is, these 2 characters and Edgar. That's about it, really. Like, you need to know the galaxy. So, like, as long as you don't come in the last kind of 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I suppose, you pretty much you'll know what's going on the whole way through.
Right up until the scene in the morgue, you'll be able to pick it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He's the bad guy. They're the good guys. He has something that they need, or they have something he wants, something like that.
Yeah.
And go from there.
I do like that. The Edgar suit, kind of, as you see it go along, it gets progressively like
worse.
Like, it's the skin's like darkening, like putrefying on it. It's like dying as it's on him and stuff.
The special effects were brilliant on it. Yeah, it's rotting away on his face. Like,
yeah, I think they did that really well, and that's something like quite small that if they
hadn't done. Overlooked.
Yeah, like if you hadn't done that, I don't think anyone would have questioned it. It's something that they did that they didn't particularly have to do, I felt, but I liked that it was done.
Yeah, it's overall, like, for a 90 million budget, you'd expect things like that to be done, but very easily overlooked on spending money on, say, the cockroach or the explosions. You know what I mean? Like, just look at Michael Bay. You can have a 200 million movie and spend it all on a fucking one scene. Like,
yeah.
But like, I think Barry Sonnenfeld done a great job with this.
Yeah, I was very happy. Like this, that's what I was saying. I was very surprised that, like, I wasn't surprised there was a Men in Black 2, but I was surprised that when Men in Black 2 did come out, that there was no Men in Black 3 for so long after.
Yeah, so I have a couple of bits there, right? So, Men in Black 1 is the highest grossing action buddy comedy.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what else fits into that, but
I would assume that things like Bad Boys and stuff would fit into that.
Shots and things like that.
Yeah, like anything where it's just two main characters, really, I would assume fits into that.
Couple of partners. Well, I would action buddy comedy, Lethal Weapon. I would have thought would have been right up there then.
Not a comedy though.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Well, yeah, as we said, start of this is action, sci-fi, comedy, all kind of mashed into one. So after the success of this, they looked at trying to get a Men in Black and a 21 Jump Street crossover.
Yeah, well, 21 Jump Street being the TV show at the time rather than the film that everyone knows it to be.
Sorry, yeah. The one, but even then it might have been gone because 96, Johnny Depp would have been long gone from it at that stage, but it was that popular kind of growing up, say the 80s and whatnot.
But that's what I mean, like when you're talking about a crossover, you mean from the TV show from back then that they were trying to fit it in somewhere.
Yeah. Now I don't know if it would have worked, to be honest.
I don't know if it would either.
I'd say the scrapped idea was probably the best they could have done. But yeah, so like it's Will Smith made a massive name for himself from this, and he moved himself into the music world even bigger. Yeah.
This is when he became like.
This was the start of superstardom.
Yeah, like there was people who were acting stars and things like that. Will Smith kind of transcended that a bit. He wasn't just. It was similar to like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a sports star, but Michael Jordan wasn't just a sports star. Like
Michael Jordan was an icon.
Yeah, that's like I'm not saying that Will Smith was an icon. I'm not saying he's at that level that Jordan would have been at, but like. Whether you were into sports or not, you knew who Michael Jordan was. Whether you were into sports or not, you knew who Tiger Woods was. Whether you were into like these type of films or not, you did know who Will Smith was, sort of thing. You know?
Like I was only talking about that with my dad the other day. I says there's certain people that just transcended the game of sport, like not the game of sport, but like the games in sport. Like as you said there, Tiger Woods done golf, Phil Taylor done darts, Michael Jordan done basketball, and somewhat baseball, even though he wasn't very good.
Well, he was only ever famous in baseball because of the basketball, really, like sort of thing.
You know what I mean? I'd say him going to baseball boosted their ratings no end.
Yeah.
No, I know it's very popular in America anyway.
It would have helped a lot, yeah. It'd be the same as if Tiger Woods went off to do something else when he was at his peak. You know, you would have give it a watch, see what he's like. You know.
But like Will Smith, if you asked people our age, born say between late 80s, early 90s. Name me 10 famous actors from the 90s.
Oh yeah, Will Smith is right up there. Like there's, you know, if you were to cast a film, 9 times out of 10, if you were given the option, you'd probably have taken Will Smith. Really.
If it was an action movie, sound. Comedy movie, you could probably go.
Yeah, he's like this is something I've said. You don't see him do it too often, but like in terms of like serious acting, I think that there's a couple of scenes that he's done where he's really serious. And he's so good at it. Like he's, for me, he is one of the best actors around. Whether people like that or not, I think his acting range is impeccable. Like,
he can do pretty much anything. Like action, like he's 50 odd now, and he's still shredded to bits. And like you could put him in an action movie and make it believable. You could put him in a comedy movie because of his quick wit.
Yeah,
it makes that thing. You could put him in a serious movie, and we've seen him in what's that one?
The Eternal Sunshine. No, that's not him.
No, that's Jim Carrey. The one with his son when he's broke. Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Pursuit of Happiness. He was absolutely phenomenal in that.
Yeah.
He was brilliant in 7 Pounds. Which is another very underrated Will Smith movie, in my opinion.
I Am Legend. He's very good in that.
I don't want to talk about that. That's him with the dog.
Yeah, but
that movie overall is very good. I enjoyed that.
Now, the only thing is, like, it's called I Am Legend. That was a mistype in the title of the film that I just went with, because it was always just meant to be I'm a Legend, and it was just meant to be. No, I don't think so. I always tell people it wasn't. It was just a story about Will Smith. Yeah, it's just a story about Will Smith and how much of a legend he is, lads. That's what it was meant to be. But
like as you said, he is a very, very good actor. He's another actor that's kind of similar to Johnny Depp. you can kind of cast him into certain roles, and he just takes over.
Like even his voice acting, like he did Shark Tale and stuff. He was quite popular even for just a voice actor and stuff.
I only watched that the other day. That should have been a much better movie. That got a horrible rap.
The problem was when it came out.
Yeah,
it was too close to Finding Nemo. Yeah, it was always going to get compared to Finding Nemo, and it just.
But man, I looked at that. The cast and that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, in terms of like one scene that I always go back to for people when they ask about like seeing him do like serious acting or like tugging at people's heartstrings and stuff. Obviously, there is, as you said, the one with when he's with his son in Pursuit of Happiness, but even in Fresh Prince.
The one with his dad.
With the where the dad walks out on him and he's just like, why doesn't he want me and stuff like.
But like that scene
is just so powerful.
Yeah, that scene there when he's talking to his Uncle Phil and he's like, I don't need him. I learned to shave without him. I learned to play football. Or I learned to play basketball without him. I made it pretty damn good. And then it finally hits him.
Yeah, he just breaks down. But like the whole time he's doing that, it's in his voice as well. Like he starts where he's just angry.
Yeah.
But then you can hear the croak in his voice, even with the anger, because the sadness is seeping into him. And it's not just that. Then there's the scene with Carlton and the gun later on in another episode.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, do you remember that?
Like, people said, like for a long time, people were like, oh, he's just a comedy actor and he's just an action film actor. Yes, those are his main ones because that's what he's best at. That's what people cast him as. But he has the chops there that if you wanted him to do something else.
Let's be fair. Like, he was absolutely phenomenal as Muhammad Ali as well.
Oh yeah, jeez, yeah, brilliant.
Like that's one of the best biopics out there.
Yeah, he's fantastic in that. Now he's had a few films that aren't particularly great.
Everybody has.
Yeah.
There's not one actor that you can name that hasn't had at least one or two bad movies.
Yeah,
like Al Pacino. Al Pacino is considered probably one of the greatest actors ever. He done Jack and Jill.
Yeah. It's not even the films that are even like Aladdin, and I don't think he was that bad as the genie. It was just
the movie was poor.
It's not even the film's poor. It's he was the genie, and you have to look at who the genie was prior to him and who the role was written for. Like the role was written with Robin Williams in mind.
That man is an absolute legend.
Yeah, when they were doing the genie, they wanted Robin Williams to be the genie, so it was written with him in mind. So like when Will Smith took that on, you were like, you're never going to live up to, like, never ever were you going to be. You were always going to be compared, but you were never going to be good enough to compare to him.
But like that's the problem. Like I didn't really enjoy the movie, but he was probably the best thing about the movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying the film was great or anything, but the problem was that he somebody had to take the role, but he took that role.
He made it his own as well.
He did, and he had to because he was never going to be able to do no one could do what Williams did.
No. To me, Will Smith would he be at the top 10 of my favorite actors? Probably. He'd
probably be not, that's what I was saying before. Like he's knocking around there for me. Like he's not someone I think of instantly when someone's like name a great actor. I wouldn't think off the top of my head Will Smith, but someone's like name an actor that like you love their films. Will Smith's up there for me.
I think for me, if you said to me name a great actor, it's going to be Al Pacino, Robert De Niro are the first two that comes to mind, and it probably would be them for most people.
Yeah, I think those are up there as De Niro is definitely up there for nearly everyone. I would say
De Niro, I think, is probably the greatest actor of all time.
But if you're asked, name an actor that that does loads of films that you love, especially if you were born in like the 90s or the late 80s, 90s, like grew up in the 90s. Will Smith is going to be there for most people, I think, from that generation.
Like if I had to name 10, he'd definitely be there.
Yeah, exactly.
If I had to name two, I'd probably go Stallone and Schwarzenegger because of the amount of movies that you can sit and watch.
Yeah, true. The thing is that with them, it's kind of when you look back. But like if you were asked to name the films from your childhood, you probably aren't thinking Stallone and Schwarzenegger, or at least I wouldn't be, because a lot of their films were older. I
think it's like for me, Stallone would be one because like when I was about 8 or 9, my uncle came over from England and he gave me the Rocky box set. The very first DVD that I had.
Yeah.
No, was it probably about 10 or 11, and I have it. I still have it.
Yeah. See, well, like Rocky would be one, but like a lot of their other films would have been, 18s or stuff, and you might have seen them, but they weren't something that you would have been seeing too frequently, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because you were too young, sort of.
Now, well, that's me saying that now. Yeah. Back then, I would have said Robin Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Robin Williams, Will Smith.
Hook's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, that's one we're definitely going to cover at some point.
That's by far the best Peter Pan there is.
For me, yeah, it's easily the best. Including the animated one. Some people say the animated one. No. Hook, the best.
Dustin Hoffman, Julie Roberts thing. No.
The whole thing. Rufio, what a legend.
But like, Robin Williams, Will Smith's definitely got to be there. I loved Men in Black growing up. Oh, and I never think it got enough airtime on movies over here as it deserved.
No, well, it was kind of a weird one over here. It didn't get a whole lot of play over here, but still something I somehow still remember.
Yeah.
But like, I'm so glad that we did do this film, because obviously we discussed before we come on what films we're going to do, and I'm glad we did put this one in for the Sci-Fi, because I think this is one of the best easy watches as well.
As is one of the other ones that we've done. We leave that one to a surprise for you. Leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, but for this week we'll call it there. Great film, and good luck.